Hello everyone. So today we would be looking into this new experiment, which is the heat transfer through forced convection. In our last practical, we have seen the heat transfer through natural convection. So in this experiment setup, as you can see, there is a small blower over here. Okay. So the purpose of this blower is to blow up air from this pipe. Okay. And this is our test uh, test section. Okay, basically there is a heater over there, and which will heat the air which will be passing through this pipe. Okay, so in all, the in this experiment we are going to find out the heat transfer coefficient, that is H, and also we are going to find out the Reynolds number, Nusselt number, and Prandtl number. Okay, so let me go to the next page. Okay, so now you can see the zoomed image of the working section. Okay, so as you can see over here, this is the just a moment, this is the as you can see over here, this is the test section. Okay, as I mentioned, and in this test section, as I said, that there is a heating coil, and above that there is a insulation. Okay, and air will flow through this pipe. There's an inlet on this side and it will go out through this side. Okay, and this basically, this heater is nothing but a nichrome band heater. All right, and there are basically four thermocouples which are situated on the surface of this pipe. Okay, and there are two on outside, that is basically the inlet and outlet. Okay, so we will call this inlet and outlet thermocouples, we denote it as T1 and T6. Okay, T1 and T6, inlet and outlet thermocouples. And remaining, we will call it as T2, T3, T4, and T5. Okay, these are on the surface of the test section. Okay, so the outer diameter, that is this diameter of the pipe, is given as 33 mm. Okay, DO is given as 33. DI, that is the inlet diameter, is given as 26 mm. And the length of this test section is given as 400 mm, that is length. And as you can see, there is a manometer tube which is present over here. Okay, and it is connected to this device. This device is known as the orifice meter. Okay, this orifice meter, this experiment you have done in fluid mechanics also. And orifice meter is nothing, it is used to determine the flow of the air which is passing through it, or basically the flow of fluid, to determine the flow of fluid. So the diameter of this orifice meter is given as 16 mm. Okay, and as you can see in the image, yeah, so this is the dimmerstat. Okay, the dimmerstat, by using this dimmerstat you can control the heating of the coil which is present in this test section. Then there are this mains. It is basically the to turn on the entire machine and turn off the machine. Then there is a separate on off for blower. Okay, so you can turn it on and turn it off while before performing the experiment. Okay, now while starting the experiment you have to make sure that all these switches are in off position, and once you start you have to turn on the blower first. Okay, and then you start with the heating. The dimmerstat should be set at 0 initially, and then you can increase it slowly and make sure that it should not exceed about 200 watts. Okay, so over here you can see the voltage reading, and here you can see the ammeter reading. So just make sure that the product of both of them should not exceed about 200 watts, because the heater is having a capacity of 400 watts, but as a factor of safety we will not exceed above 200. Okay, then over here this is the temperature indicator, and this is the knob for it. So it will give you temperatures T1, T2, T3, T4 and T5, T6. Okay, all these temperatures can be determined by changing the knob setting. All right, and over here when the air will start flowing through this pipe, you have to set this valve first. Okay, so you get a desired change in pressure across the orifice, okay, in the manometer. So once you get that, you get two readings. That is, we'll call the change in difference as over here we call it as H1, and on this side we'll call it as small h2. Okay, so this was all about the experiment photo, and let me now go towards the calculation part. So the observation table comes first. Observation table, you can easily get voltage and current from the dial indicator. And yeah, make sure that when you start the experiment, you're waiting for around 10-15 minutes so that it comes to a steady state first, and then you start taking these readings T1, T2, T3, T4, T5 and T6. Okay, and after that you also take the manometer reading as well. Okay, and so this table won't be any problem. And over here you will get voltage and current. Okay, so the product of that will give you the heat input, voltage into current. But this heat input is only given to the heater. Okay, but if you want to find what is the heat transfer to the heater, then there would be a change, because this is the total heat. Okay, this is the total heat which would be given to the heater. But if you want to determine how much heat has been supplied to the air which is passing through the pipe in the test section, then it would be just a small part of this Q. Okay, so we will just have a look on this calculation part. So initially we will start with the orifice meter. Since we have the orifice meter, we can find out the volume flow rate. Okay, so the volume flow rate can be determined for the orifice from the orifice meter, which is a simple formula, that is Q equals to CD pi by 4 d square. This is nothing but the area into under root of 2g h. H is nothing but the change in the difference in the height in manometer. Rho W, that is density of water, upon rho A, that is density of air. Okay, so Q is nothing but the volume flow rate which we can measure from the orifice meter. CD is known as the coefficient of discharge, and which is the value of it usually is 0.64. Pi by 4 d square, the diameter of the orifice pipe is given as 16 mm. Okay, and G is 9.81. H is the difference of manometer height, okay, which we can get in meters, and density of water is nothing but 1000 kg per meter cube, and density of air we can consider it as 1 kg per meter cube. From this expression we can find out the volume flow rate, and once we find the volume flow rate, what we have to do is we have to multiply this volume flow rate with density, which will give us, I'll just write it down. You have to multiply this volume flow rate with density to get mass flow rate. Okay, So you can get a mass flow rate which is equals to small m, okay, from this expression. And once you get this expression, we'll go to the second part. So this is the first. The second part of the calculation is where you need to find, we are going to use the relation Q0 equals to mCp delta T. Okay, so this Q is nothing but the heat transferred from the heater to the air. Okay, the air that is flowing through the pipe. Okay, and this M over here, this M here over here is nothing but the mass flow rate, Cp. Okay, Cp of air, which is usually taken as 1 kilojoule per kg Kelvin. Okay, and delta T over here is nothing but outlet temperature, inlet temperature minus outlet temperature. Okay, that is the thermocouple, the change in temperature of thermocouple present over here and present over here. So that is nothing but it is given by T6 minus T1. Okay, this will give you change in temperature. Why I have written T6? Because the outlet temperature is definitely going to be higher than the inlet temperature, है ना? As the air will pass through the heater. Okay, so T6 minus T1. So this will give you delta T. When you substitute all these values, you are going to get Q. Okay, now once you get Q0, we then move on to the next part, that is third. We need to calculate the surface area. Okay, and the surface area, for this we have to use the formula AS equals to pi dl, right? Surface area of the cylinder, where d is nothing but the outer diameter. Okay, so once you get you know the value of pi, you know the value of d, you know the value of l is nothing but the length of the test section. Okay, and once you get all this value, you can find as quick, very easily, right? And the next part, that is the fourth part that you need to find is nothing but the heat transfer coefficient. Okay, so for that we are going to use this formula Q equals to HA delta T, right? You are aware of this formula. Now in order to find out H, what we are going to do, we'll put H on one side and we'll shift the remaining to the other side. So it would be AS, sorry, I forgot to mention S over here, and this is delta T. Okay, but this delta T is little bit different. Okay, Q is nothing but Q0, which we found out earlier, right? It's over here. Okay, so you need to substitute this value over here. AS you can directly substitute from here, and delta T is, I'll write it as delta T equal to TF minus TS. Okay, where TF is T2 plus T3 plus T4 plus T5 divided by 4, and TS is T1 plus T6 divided by 2. Okay, so this is basically the temperature of the air. The what you will get is the mean temperature of the heated air. Okay, TF, and this is the inlet and outlet temperature, TS. Okay, so this is what is delta T. You substitute the value over here and you get finally the value of H from this formulas. Okay, now once you get all these values, you have H, you have area, you have Q. Now we need to find the value of Reynolds number, Nusselt number, Prandtl number. Okay, so Reynolds number is given by rho V d upon mu. Okay. Prandtl number is given by mu Cp upon K. All right. And Nusselt number is given by Hd upon K. So in order to find the value of these dimensionless numbers, Reynolds number, Prandtl number, and Nusselt number, what we can do is we can follow this table. Okay. So you need to find the mean temperature first, in the mean temperature of the heat which is going through the pipe. And once you get the mean temperature of the heat, suppose the temperature is, for example, it is 40. Okay, so if it is 40 degrees Celsius, you can find the various values of its property at 40 degrees. That is the density, specific heat, Cp, thermal conductivity, thermal diffusivity, dynamic viscosity, kinematic viscosity, and Prandtl number. You can get it directly. Okay, so suppose you get the temperature 40, then the corresponding values you can use it in order to find out Reynolds number, Prandtl number, and Nusselt number. Okay, so this is all about the experiment for today. Thank you for watching this video.